I be watching The Witcher, I skip the no-no spots in it. Here's my very short response. When The Witcher aired, Dana, I was very intrigued by it. I like Henry Cavill, and I like that genre of movie. It's just a very fun, intriguing genre, thank you, of show. So I was like excited about it when I first heard about it, and then I started hearing some things and decided I'm going to hold off. Morgan was out of town last week, or a week ago, and I'm on the couch. The Witcher pops up. I'm looking for something to watch, and I'm like, ooh, I watched just like the little when
trailer type thing.
Yeah, when like you just hold your cursor over it and it like comes, and I'm like, man, this looks like a fun show. So I go to Parents Guide, and it has like sex and nudity section, and it said severe. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it with a 9-foot pole. I would be how do I put this nicely? An idiot. to put myself.
Not calling you an idiot, whoever's watching it.
Dana, I'm not, but to put as a male that knows, like, I have to be on guard, and I posted about this. I actually was on, that may have been something that inspired my Instagram post, but I'm just like, these Christian men that know that sexuality, and they battle with the mind, and they battle with PORN, and then they're so casual about what they watch. And this goes for women too that battle it. Women battle it. It's hard for me to comprehend, really. And so for me to sit through a show like The Witcher, even though I really like the premise of it, and watch a show that has severe sex and nudity, that would be very foolish.
Yeah, even if you fast forward it, honestly.
And lack of discernment.
Because you just never know. These scenes can just pop up, and then you've got that 2 to 5 second clip of sexual stuff.
I don't want that stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
I think there's some gray area if there's a show that's, it says maybe like mild, and you can look and see, okay, mild, there was this and this, I can stay away from that. But anything severe, it's going to be a raunch fest. Yeah. It's going to be a raunch fest.
If you have struggled with, and this is not you specifically, Dana, just anyone, if you have struggled with lust, any type of sexual immorality, anytime recently or even within the past few years, like, why are we watching TV shows that have sex scenes in them? Even if they don't show everything, why are we watching movies that romanticize and, like, go crazy? Like, even Twilight. Like, I watched that recently and remember, like, wow, this gets steamy. It was like, oh, my goodness. Like,
I would say that would be, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I would say that would be a gray area one. You can watch that and...
Yes.
But if it's you fall into the category of who Morgan's describing, and that's a big struggle for you, and you find yourself slipping into it, why would you put yourself through that?
It's like, guys, it's worth the sacrifice of not watching Twilight. It's worth the sacrifice of not listening to these songs that over-sexualize and over-romanticize love, which is that love when you're falling into sin? No. And, like, it's just worth it. If it's gonna keep you out of falling into sin, like, don't do it.
Let us know, you guys, in the comments, like, what kind of are some shows that you're watching that you feel like I, as a Christian, in good conscience, can watch this show. I can watch maybe a movie. Like, I really like this movie. I could watch that. Let us know some things, but I will even go as far as to say Oppenheimer. I know there are going to be people who will watch this that watched Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer. I was super excited to see it. Christopher Nolan's newest film. He's a great director. I consider myself a little bit of a film critic myself. I like to dissect it and so forth. And then I saw that it was not just, one sex scene that you could kind of fast forward. It was like there was a 5-minute dialogue where she's without clothes on and you can see stuff. So I passed on it. I will say we were discussing it with our friends, and I have a really close friend who he took it very seriously. He got on Common Sense Media or one of those places, and I think he literally Googled, like, can you watch Oppenheimer and not see nudity? And it like spelled it out for him. Here's what you got to do when this person comes up on the screen. Literally just look away, and it can be done. I'm not wanting to put myself through that. It just like all those hoops, but he said it can be done. I'm on here to just encourage you guys, again, like what Morgan already shared. If this is something you really struggle with, I would say really anyone, honestly, but if it's something that like I'm in a battle here, This is one of those things where Satan can really try to get to me and does get to me. Why put yourself through it?
Don't do it.
I see some of you guys are jumping in. Let's go, Paul. Thank you, Archon. I appreciate it. Let's see. Seems absolutely weird that a person who doesn't follow the Bible the way you do would end up in... Okay, so this is KBBB's jumping into a very different conversation that we can get to if you guys want to. Dana says, I talked with my mom-in-law on it, LOL. Dana, you said you watch it with your hubby. I would have a very real conversation with your hubby and just ask him, like, hey, like, is this stuff get to you? Like, does it mess with you? How are you doing in this area?
But she did say that they skip past the no-no parts. The no-no parts. Yes, we're 5.
Maddie says, I like Game of Thrones, and even as someone non-religious, the sex scenes get on my nerves. Yeah. Well, you get a little bit of a pass. I'm not saying you get a total pass, Maddie, but we're going to hold fellow Christians to a higher standard than non-Christians. Switchfoot Star says, I agree, Paul. Kayla, Matthew 26:41, watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And I think if we were more honest with ourselves, so many of us do have very weak fleshes. Very weak fleshes.
So weak. And you know what? It's okay. If you're so weak, that's okay. That gives more room for the Lord to give you his strength.
Yeah.
Like, when I am weak, he is strong. And so...
Watch and pray, though. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. Is that being watchful and prayerful to sit down and subject yourself to something that's severe sex and nudity?
Yeah. There's Proverbs 4:23. I quoted this in my vlog today, but above all else, guard your heart, for everything flows from it. For all that you do flows from it. And it's just like, what are we doing to guard our hearts, Are we protecting our hearts? Because everything we do flows from our heart. So if we're sitting down watching trash shows, what is that doing to our hearts? It's filling it with lust, sinful desires, hate, idolatry, whatever it is. Like, we're filling ourselves with nonsense and listening to trash music, whatever. Like, are we guarding our hearts? Are we guarding our minds? Are we protecting our spirits? I feel like no, a lot of us really fall and just allow our weakness to be an excuse to fall over and over and over again. And we misuse and abuse God's grace and his mercy.
Ooh, now...
And
it's getting hot in here, you guys.
Yeah.
Ooh, no, that's good, Morgan. I mean, that's good. If you feel like we're missing something here, if we're just being way too cynical and critical, we can have that discussion, but we're sharing what's on our hearts, and this is a very big thing, and this will probably be our trimmed video if you didn't already know that by now.
Yes.